Hey everyone, my name is Adi. Today we are going to talk about color. In order to incorporate colors to our art, it's better to understand more about it. Colors are an important part of our life. They tell us when to cross the street, what we should or shouldn't eat. When it comes to visual arts, color is one of the most fundamental aspects of it. Just one thing before we start. I really recommend not to skip anything in this video. It will get more and more complicated as we go. And every explanation will be based on the previous ones. So it's better not to miss anything. Let's start with the source of everything, color mixing. If you have heard of the terms RGB and CMYK, then put them aside. They have more to do with screens and printers. The primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. They are called this way because when mixing them in different ways, we can get other colors. Secondary colors are the colors that are made from a combination of two primary colors. When you mix yellow and red, use more yellow than red. When you mix them together, you will get orange. When you mix red and blue, you will get purple. When you mix blue and yellow, use more yellow than blue. When you mix them together, you will get green. Dark colors are more dominant, so always use more of the light color than the dark color when mixing. Can we mix colors to create a primary color? We will get to it later. What happens if we mix all the primary colors together? When mixing together yellow, red and blue, we will get brown. If we mix all the secondary colors together, orange, purple and green, then again we will get brown, because they have the same DNA of all the three primary colors. For the same reason, you could also get brown if you mix blue and orange, yellow with purple, and red with green. When mixing primary colors, it's important to be aware of the fact that there are different types of yellows, reds, and blues, like ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, indigo blue, Persian blue, cerulean blue. As you can see in this example, when mixing different yellows with different blues, we will get different greens. Another thing that will affect the type of green that we will get is how much yellow and how much blue we add. This leads us to the next subject, how to make a color lighter or darker. In order to make a secondary color lighter or darker, you can use the primary colors that this color is made of. If you add more yellow to your green, it will become lighter. And if you add more blue to your green, it will become darker. You are probably asking yourself, but Adi, can we just use black to make it darker and white to make it lighter? Well, yes you can, but it will make the color less pure and less vivid. This is green and black, and now we will mix green with brown, green with white, This is probably not the kind of green that you think about when you think about a light green. Now green and blue. The blue turns the green into a really dark color, but it looks more vivid and less dull than when we mixed black with green or brown with green. If we mix white and blue, we will get a light blue. If we mix white and black, we will get gray. When we mix white with red, we will get pink. When mixing white, it's important to use a lot of white and a bit of the other color, because the white, that is a very light color, is less dominant than the other colors. So there could be different options of how to make a color darker and lighter. You'll have to choose which option is the best for what you're trying to achieve. Some of you are probably asking yourself, why is it so important to know how a color is made and how to mix colors if you can just go and buy all the colors that are available? Because how a color is made will affect how we use it in an artwork, and will affect how we add light and shadow to an object. Every object should have a light tone, a middle tone, and a dark tone. At least 3 different tones. When you choose colors for the light area of an object and the shadow area of an object, it's good to pick colors that are similar, have the same DNA. If you want to paint an object in the color orange, for example, then if you only use shades of orange, your drawing or painting might look flat. Objects in real life have a contrast between the light area and the dark area. So to make a realistic object, in this case an object in the color orange, then it will be wise to add yellow to the light area and red or brown to the shadow. Please look at this example. I added color swatches with the colors that I used in this orange. So when you draw an object in a secondary color, it's good to add the primary colors that make this color. Another example of how to make light and shadow in a secondary color. The grapes are above one another. The upper ones will be more yellow, and the ones that are underneath them will be in shadow and will be more blue. When creating light and shadow of an object that is in a primary color, if you want to keep that color pure, it's better to use colors that are similar to it, like the secondary colors that this color make. If you want to draw or paint something in red, then it's good to have different kinds of reds. But if you only use reds, it will be harder to achieve a contrast. To make these cherries look shiny, I used white in the highlights. To create a deep shadow, I used a bluish purple. When drawing or painting a yellow object, you can use in the shadow yellow ochre, green, orange, or yellowish brown. Let's move on to color temperature. Some colors are interpreted as cold, while others are interpreted as warm. The warm colors are yellow, orange, and red. and blue is a cold color. Green and purple can be warm or cold. It depends on how they are mixed. Purple with more red is warmer, and the purple with more blue is colder. You can also see this in the color wheel. The closer the green or the purple are to the blue, the colder they will be, and the further away they are from the blue, they will become warmer. The same goes for brown. As you can see, mixing different amounts of the same colors can lead to a different result. At the top we have a brown with more yellow in it. Beside it a brown with more yellow and blue, and less red. Here is a brown with more blue, a brown with more red and blue and less yellow, a brown with more red, and a brown with more yellow and red and less blue. The browns that have more blue will be colder. The browns with less blue are warmer. The temperatures of the colors can affect the atmosphere of the painting. It's good to make a difference in the temperature between the areas of the light and the areas of the shadows. This way the light and shadow can be more distinguished. To create a feeling of a warm sunlighted day, use cold colors in the shadows. Different shades of the same color can look warmer or colder than each other. Complementary colors. Complementary colors are pairs of colors that when they are side by side, they create an interesting combination. They make each other look good. The pairs of the complementary colors are yellow and purple, red and green, and blue and orange. It makes it easier to remember when you think about them like this. Each pair is one primary color and a secondary color that is the mixture of the two other primary colors. On the color wheel, the complementary colors are placed facing one another. You can make your subject in a pure and vibrant color and the background in a complementary color that is more dull. You can use different shades of colors too. Is it possible to create a primary color? I can't really say that the answer is yes, but it's also not entirely no. If you mix colors that have the same primary color in them, you can increase the percentage, the value of the primary color. And in this method to achieve a result that resembles the primary color. So if I mix purple and orange, for example, I can achieve a color that resembles red. The more red there is in this purple and in this orange, the more red the result will look like. When mixing an orange with a lot of yellow in it, and a green with a lot of yellow in it, the result will be similar to yellow. This time I choose to mix a turquoise and a bluish purple. The result will resemble blue. By the way, when mixing yellow and black or yellow and grey, the result will look kind of green, olive green. Let's compare these colors with the primary colors. So you can see that the result is not exactly the same, but it is similar. And this shows how the DNA of colors works. We talked about how the different primary colors have different shades. It's impossible to create the exact primary color, even the different shades of it. Another color that you can't mix is magenta. Sometimes when you want to paint the exact color that you see, you will have to buy it. Aside from these exceptions, I want to give you a tip how to mix every color that you want. But before that, I want to talk about the color white and the color black. There are different shades of white. If you see them separately, they all look white. But if you see them side by side, you will see that they are different. So a white can have a touch of another color in it. When drawing or painting on a white paper, leave the white of the paper and surround it with another color. When choosing the color of the shadow of the white, there are different options that you can choose from. If you can see a touch of color in your white, then you can use this color to add the shadow to the white. Another approach is to choose a complementary color as the shadow. Just like we said earlier, if you want to show a warm light, then choosing a cold shadow will be a good choice. You can look at the shadow of this object and ask yourself, what does it look like to you? Even if you choose to use gray as a shadow, there are different kinds of grays too. Another thing that can affect a choice of color is what are the colors around it of the other objects in this painting or drawing. To explain this, it will be easier to show than to tell. Color is actually a wave of light. This is why it can bounce off from one object to another. The green of the paper is reflected in the white surface and the white fabric. Once you are aware of this phenomenon, you will see this all the time. This phenomenon occurs with every color. The objects have to be close to one another. When drawing portraits, the color of the shirt will bounce off into the face. I want to say one more thing about the color white. When you see something that is white, ask yourself how much white there really is in it. How much is the white portion is in relation to the shadow. And also, how white is it really is. There are things that are considered to be white, like teeth and the white in our eyes, and they are actually not white at all. And if you do paint them in white, your portrait will look unnatural and creepy. To explain about the color black, I will start by using this photo as example. When I used grayscale on this photo, the black changed. Black isn't necessarily pure, it can have a touch of another color in it. There are different kinds of black. And not everything that seems black is actually black. Black actually isn't considered as a color by definition. And when it comes to art, black is a tricky color. If you use it in an artwork, it will overpower the other colors in it. The viewer eyes will only be fixed on the black. This is why many artists create replacements for black. You can see that the replacement for black in this painting that I made looks as dark as black, but without having the negative effect of overpowering everything. In order to create a good replacement for black, mix dark colors together. This one is a mixture of purple and green. This is blue and brown. Generally speaking, a mixture of two dark colors can work well in dark shadows. Throughout the history, many artists avoided using black. If you still feel like the replacement for black are not black enough, you can mix black with another color. I really don't recommend using the black as it is in an artwork, unless it's the only color there is. People react to color positively. People enjoy and appreciate color. If you add colors to your black, people will probably see it as more fun. I want to talk a bit more about the color brown. If you choose to use brown as a shadow, it's better to choose a brown that is the closest to the color that you are adding the brown to. And still, by making brown as a shadow of color, it can make the color become less vivid and more dull. If there is a lot of brown or gray in an artwork, people might not react to it positively. This has to do with how people perceive and interpret the colors that are more discolored and dim, in contrast to the colors that are strong and vivid. Just like we did for black, you can create your own version of brown. When I want to add a neutral color but I don't want to use brown, I mix colors that have the three primary colors in them. This is a mixture of light blue, pink and yellow ochre. Let's talk about how to mix every color that you want and mixing tips. Just like learning a new technique, learning how to mix colors requires adapting a new way of thinking. When you want to copy a color that you see to create it, you should start with asking yourself which of the primary colors or the secondary colors this color is similar to. This way you already have a lead. After you decided which color or colors the color that you want to mix is similar to, ask yourself what makes the color that you want to mix and the color that's similar to it different. Is it darker or lighter, for example? Then how can I make it lighter or darker? Sometimes you will have to experiment to find out. It's better to write down to yourself how did you mix this color so you can mix it again in the future. You can also create color samples. There are also books that show how to mix different colors. What color to choose? We already talked in the introduction about how colors are good to convey messages. We also feel different things when we look at a certain color. We can use color in our artworks to express emotions and thoughts and to present them to the viewer. The same color can mean different things depending on the situation and culture. When you want to convey a message, ask yourself which color is the most suitable. When you choose several colors for the same painting, put the colors side by side to see if you like them together. If you are not sure what color to pick for the background, you can put behind your model papers in different colors, or change colors with Design app or program. If you don't want your artwork to look too colorful, you can balance the vivid colors by adding neutral colors beside them, like white, gray, brown. Now let's talk about how to create special colors. Let's start with neon colors. There isn't really a way to create neon color by mixing colors. To make a color look neon, choose a light color or add white to the color, and make the surrounding of this color dark and dull. The comparison between them, the contrast, will make it look neon. The bigger the contrast, the more neon the color will look like. In this example, I added white highlights to make the neon color look like a source of light. Metallic colors. Again, in this case too, the secret is not in the color itself, but in the way you use it. To make something look metallic, you will need to create a strong contrast of darkness and lightness in the object. In other words, the difference in the level of darkness between the light area and the shadow has to be strong. White highlights will show the viewer that it's shiny. Metal is like a mirror, it's reflective. Adding colors that reflect in it will also help it to look like a metal. Transparency. Depending on the media that you are using, you may be able to mix it with water or something else to make it more transparent. But there are other things that make something look transparent. A transparent object doesn't cover what's behind it completely, so you should draw what's behind it. Transparency means see-through. When it comes to glass objects, you can see what's behind the object, but it often looks distorted. You can see in this example that the table behind the bottle looks round, instead of looking straight. Glass objects, like metal objects, can have in them reflections of the surrounding objects. They are also shiny and have white highlights. I think that skin tones deserve a separated video, but generally speaking, there is no such a thing, one skin tone. The color that is considered to be skin tone is actually not natural, so it can't really be used as it is in a portrait. Skin tone is not just a matter of darkness and lightness. Skin can be warm or cold and have unexpected colors in it. So when you create a portrait, try to look for the unexpected colors. I want to thank you so much for watching until the end. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you know people who might be interested in this video, why don't you share it with them? You can let me know in the comments what else you would like to learn. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.